In today's video, we are going to look at a game played between Mikhail Botvinnik and Joel Rose Capablanca. This game was played in Nimzo Indian Defense and in 1938. I am going to tell you people that Mikhail Botvinnik was actually a very balanced player. He was a attacker also, and he was a very positional player, and he was very strict by preparation. But it's very standard type of play. He was very strict about that. Joel Rose Capablanca likes simple positions. He will simplify the position and then he is grind down you to just win the game. And Magnus Carlsen, the best Magnus Carlsen's best player in the history is Joel Rose Capablanca. After that, many comes, and his style also reflects in Magnus Carlsen. So let's continue with our game. The game started with d4. In this game, Botvinnik actually gave up a pawn for a kingside attack. And in that attack, he sacrificed the bishop first, then he sacrificed his knight, and he calculated all till end. Capablanca was a world champion from 1921 to 27, and Botvinnik from 1948 to 1957, 1958 to 1960, and 1961 to 1963, he was a world champion, Botvinnik. And this d4 move actually leads to usually more positional struggles. Here, Capablanca replied with knight f6, preventing e4. The point, the move e4, immediately controlling this whole center. The reason behind playing this move knight f6 first is that now c4, the normal follow up to d4 actually, and white puts pressure on this square, which black would counter in different ways. Whether he can go c6 and d5, whether he plays e6 and d5, or he can just directly play the move d5. So e6, black frees the bishop to develop. Now c3 by white and bishop b4, stopping the move e4. Because if now e4, black bishop is going to take the knight, and then this knight would take the pawn. And this is start of the Nimzo Indian defense. And this is one of the most possible moves in this position. Here, the other main moves are queen c2, a3, knight f3, and these are the other main moves in this position. Or even queen b3 is also a main move. d5, immediately hitting the center. Now a3 by white, hitting the bishop. Now bishop into c3, b into c3, and c5. And in this structure, black usually goes for b6 and develops this bishop over here on a6 and put pressure on this pawn. And black, after exchanges, for example, he develops his queen over here on queen c7 and rook c8, putting more pressure on this file and this pawn. This is the concept of this line of Nimzo Indian. Usually in Nimzo Indian, this type of concept arises when there are double pawns of white. So c into d5, e into d5. Now black's bishop is free to move. Bishop d3 by white, taking control of this square, important square, from black's bishop. Still, this white's bishop is a poor piece. It is being restricted by his own pawns over here. And white would try to whether develop it this way, going to, after exchanges, going to control this diagonal. But in the long run, this bishop will be struck in this version of the line. So castle by black and knight e2. The point of playing knight e2 is that if white plays the knight f3, then black bishop can just pin this knight to the queen. That's why Mikhail Botvinnik developed the knight to knight e2. b6 by black. The point of b6 is that usually black exchanges his bishop for this white light square bishop, because this bishop is hitting. This is the only powerful piece other than on the light squares, other than the queen, which is hitting the black king side, the h7 pawn. Castle by white. Now bishop a6, going for the plan. Bishop into a6, knight into a6, and bishop b2. And now you may see that this bishop is just very poor. It has no mobility. And here, queen d7 was played by black. There is one way, sorry, to develop this bishop, and that is whether you take over here, but it develops the knight. Then you play the move, for example, c4, when you play the move rook c1. And this bishop would be free. But in that course of time, black would have developed a lot of pressure. And his knight is his knight would be very well placed over here on c5 instead of this knight a6. So a4 by white. The second thing was that in this position, we have to keep in mind that when black played the move queen d7, what was his plan? His plan was that he want to bring his queen over here. He's going to take the pawn. After white takes it, then bring the rook over here on c8 first. Then might maneuver this knight over here, knight to c7, e6, and bring his queen over here and going to march with his pawns. So a4 by white, taking control of this square and stopping the movement of this pawn over here on b6. Rook f8, developing the rook. Now queen d3. And here c4 was played by Capablanca. Now he has closed the tension, closed this center. And I would say that it was too early actually to close this tension. Instead, Capablanca should have gone for this maneuver, knight c7 to e6 immediately. But he went out for this plan, and now queen c2 by white. And in this version of the move, now this bishop has this long diagonal and it moves to a3. Now knight b8. So I want you people to pause the video over here and think that this knight is a bad piece. Where should it belong? Where it is attacking? Where should it belong? The first thing is that it may belong over here, e6. Then the problem over here is on e6 when these two squares are being covered. And he would have just only won this square. And this rook's file. That's why Capablanca went out for knight b8. The concept is that he's going for knight c6, h5, sorry, a5, and now b6. And he has all the time in the world to do this. So rook a1 by white, going for the king side, knight c6, going for the plan, knight g3, developing the knight, taking control of these two important squares. Knight a5 by black, he's going with his plan. f3, stopping the knight from coming over here on just e4. Because if, just a moment, if here white plays any irregular move, for example like h3, then this knight can immediately drop over here. And if you exchange this, then rook, and it is not an easy. For example, you move the if you move now f3, these all dark squares would be weak, and this pawn would be weak. That's why he immediately played the move Mikhail Botvinnik f3. And the second reason to playing the move f3 is that first, it has an escape route for the king. Second, he is going to play the move e4 and open up the center this way because this side is closed completely. And this knight would be a poor piece on b6. Sorry, b3. Now, the point of this whole maneuver was that to cut off the defense of this pawn, a4, e4. Now, white attack is worth the loss of a pawn actually in this position. And you would see in the long run, this knight was doing nothing over here. Black should have countered this center instead. He must have gone back instead of taking this pawn. So queen into a4 was played, and this was actually a mistake because now e5. Because this knight was controlling these two squares. Knight d7 was played by black. Knight bc5. The concept of this move is over here. Now, what is black's plan in this? I want you people to pause and think. That what is black's plan in this position? The black is saying that I am going to play the move knight c5, and your queen would be hit. Then he is going to place his knight over here on d6. A very beautiful scare. So how white can counter this plan? I want you people to pause the video and think that how white can counter this plan. White can counter this plan by playing the move queen f2. And now you may see that now this knight is stuck over here. This queen is out of the way of the just from the his king side, and black's four pieces are here to attack the black king side. G6 was played by black. The reason behind is that he weakened his dark squares just not to let this knight come over here on f4 or h4. f4 by white. The point of playing this move is f4 is that now this queen and rook both are on this tag. This file, and it is time to open up this side of the board, the king side. f5 by black. There was no other way to stop this actually. E into f6, knight into f6, and f5. Still going for the attack. And white has a very strong attack. And you may see that Mikhail Botvinnik has given up this a4 pawn. This queen is just out of the defense of this king side. And here white's four pieces are attacking the king side. Rook into e1. Black decides actually to trade off as much material as much possible. So rook into e1, rook e8. And now I want you people to pause the video. That it is, do you really think that you want to just trade off the rooks? And if you don't want to trade off the rooks, then what is the best move? Where the rook would be very beautifully placed. I hope you have judged that. The rook would be beautifully placed at rook e6. And in this position, you are forcing black to take the decision whether you are going to play the king over here to protect this knight, whether you are going to take this rook over here and give me a passed pawn, or whether you are going to you can't move your knight over here. Sorry. So what to do? In the game, Capablanca took the rook, and there was no better way to continue. Because if you play the move, for example, king g7 over here, protecting this knight, then it is made in long run. The point is that now rook into f6, King into f6, f into g6 check, king into g6. You have given the rook as an exchange. Now queen f5 check, king g7. Now knight h5 check, king h6. Now g4, protecting the knight over here and threatening mate in just queen f6. So the queen would have to come back, and in just round about 10 to 11 moves further, or 7 to 8 moves, I think 9 moves, white is going to checkmate the black king, and there is no way that he can stop it. So that's why rook into e6 was played by Capablanca, and now f into e6. Now king g7, and white played the move queen f4. The point of this is that there is a little bit tactics. If black make any, for example, wrong move, like I'm going to make it for you, a6, then how white can win this knight over here and going for a mate. The point is he can just go for a mate. How he can do that? I want you people to pause the video, give a 5 to 10 seconds thought. I hope you have judged it. The point is that now knight f5 check. You have to take the knight. Now queen check. King has to move back because this square was covered. Now knight check. And in few moves you are going to mate the black king. So that's why black brought his queen over here to defend this side of the board, his king side. And white is an exchange down. So how to continue? Once again, I want you people to pause the video and think that how to continue. This pawn is also hit over here on e6, and this is a very important pawn. And the move was queen e5. Defending the pawn, you are defending the pawn over here, and you are pinning the knight f6 to this king. And in the next move, you are going second. How? This was the first move, okay? Now there is a problem with your one of the pieces which are underdeveloped, and you have to think to develop them. And how to develop them? This is the bishop, and you are going to develop it bishop a3, and this is a very nasty threat to the black side, because after that you may play the move like this. You may bring your queen to e3 with more threats, or you just give the check over here in this way, and this square will be covered. Then this bishop would be played on a3. So Capablanca countered it by playing the move queen e7, and this due to the this from here the beautiful combination starts actually, due to which this game is very famous one. And I want you people to pause the video and be in the shoes of Mikhail Botvinnik. And it is not an easy one. The first move might you may see, it is not an easy, although, but see till the end. The point is to see these moves till the end. This is around about 10 to 11 moves ahead. I would say that I think it is yeah, 11 moves. You have to see till 11 moves. And this is what Mikhail Botvinnik saw in the game when he played the move bishop a3, hitting this queen over here. And this bishop is not being protected. The point was that after queen into a3, because black cannot let this bishop into play, so he made the move knight h5 check, giving away his second piece. G into h5. Now all white has left just his queen to attack this king. Queen g5 check, forcing the king away. King f8. Now queen into f6 check. King g8. Now e7, threatening to mate the queen and checkmate the king. And black has nothing better to give the checks. And you may see that this knight is just out of the game. It is working for the white side, the opposite side. This knight was bargained by white. Actually, this is what would you call? So white went out to give the checks, but soon he will be out of the checks, and there would be no way to save this game. After king f2, now queen c2 check, king g3, queen d3 check, king h4, queen e4 check, king into h5, queen e2 check, king h4, queen e4 check, g4, queen e1 check, king h5, and black has no checks anymore. And he would have to sacrifice his queen for this pawn. Because white is saying that I am going to mate here, you just in one move, queen f8. Okay, if you like this video, kindly subscribe and hit the bell icon button. It was a very beautiful video actually. A very beautiful combination. Okay, bye.